Hello everyone. I hope you all are staying safe during the COVID-19 outbreak. Now that we all are stuck in indoor because of the adverse situation, let us discuss about one of the very popular indoor sport in Japan, the sumo wrestling. Sumo wrestling is also known as the sports of emperor. Let me tell you a brief history of this ancient Japanese form of wrestling. Sumo is said to have its roots in a Shinto ritual dance where the most powerful men displayed their strength in front of the kami, that is, gods or spirits, as a sign of respect and gratitude to bring in a good harvest. Later, it was used as a way to compare strength and determine those fighters most adept in hand-to-hand combat. During Edo period, the professional sumo wrestlers emerged from the ranks of amateurs and regular competitions began to take place. In 1909, sumo was established as the national sport of Japan. The sumo wrestlers are known as rikishi in Japanese. I have showed the way to write rikishi in Japanese characters, which consist of two characters. The kanji meaning of the first character is strength and the other one is warrior. Now that we understand the history and the brief background of sumo wrestling, let's discuss about the divisions and the rankings. There are around 650 rikishi in the six divisions in sumo. Wrestlers or rikishi are divided into six different divisions depending on their performance. They can be promoted to higher ranks when they perform well in tournaments, but they can also be demoted for poor performance as well. The ranking and division of a wrestler is important because it's not only the proof of their skill, but it determines their income too. Even within the divisions, there are further hierarchical categorization. The prestigious title of Yokozuna, for example, is the highest rank of the Makuuchi division. The Makuuchi, which comprises of 42 best rikishi, naturally receive the most media attention. At the top of this pile sits the Yokozuna, the grand champion. This position is typically achieved by winning two Honbasho in a row, where Honbasho means the major tournaments that determine rankings. There are six Honbasho annually, one on each odd month of the year, and they last for 15 days. There are currently four Yokozuna and have only been 72 in the 300 years since the ranking was introduced. Rikishi from the top two divisions will wrestle every day of the major tournaments. Let me tell you in brief about each division. Division 6, that is Jonokochi. Sumo wrestlers start their careers in Jonokochi, the lowest division, after participating in at least one Meizumo bout. It's mostly made up of young hopefuls who are not considered professional yet. Division 5 is called a Zonidan. Zonidan rank wrestlers now have some experience, but only the best are promoted. That, combined with a no-cap policy on the number of wrestlers, leads to a bottleneck situation, making this division the largest of the six. They will still have to deal with hazing, and there are some restrictions on their clothing. Professional sumo wrestlers are required to wear traditional Japanese dress even outside of the ring, and those in the Jonidan ranks are not permitted to wear haori even in the cold. Here, haori means the famous kimono jacket. Division 4. which is also called as Sandamne. Like Zonokoche and Zoniden wrestlers instead receive a small allowance after each tournament in exchange for doing chores at the stable. For Sandamne, this ends up being around the equivalent of 2000 USD plus prize money for winning bouts. Division 3, which is also called as Makushita. Makushita is a final frontier between being an unranked wrestler without a salary to the prestigious Sekitори. It's common for wrestlers from the higher ranks to fall to Makushita, which is truly an unfortunate fate. Makushita and all the lower ranks compete only 7 times per tournament. Finally, we have reached to the top two divisions, in which the Rikishi receives monthly salaries and also treated as a celebrity. Division 2, which is also known as Zurayo. Zurayo ranked wrestlers considered professional competitors. Wrestlers in the Zurayo and Makuuchi divisions are known as Sekitori. The average salary of a professionally ranked Sekitori sumo wrestler is 1 million yen or 8,800 USD per month, plus additional perks and prize money. Zurayo wrestlers compete 15 times per tournament compared to the 7 bouts of the former ranks. Here is our top division, that is Division 1, which is called Makuuchi. Reaching to Division 1 or Makuuchi is the dream of all professional sumo wrestlers. Yokozuna is top rank among Makuuchi division, followed by Ozeki, Sekiwake, and Komusubi. More than one wrestler can hold these titles at a time, and the number of wrestlers in the Makuuchi division is kept at 42. Makuuchi wrestlers receive a handsome salary and are also end up being the most famous since their bouts are broadcast on regular television. Here is the Dohyo ring. You know where the sumo wrestlers actually wrestles? Yes, this is that ring, which is 4.55 meter across and 66 centimeter above the ground. The surface is covered by sand. A new dohyo is built prior to each tournament by the Yobidasi, who is also known as ring attendants, who are responsible for this activity. The process of building the dohyo takes 3 days. The clay used is taken from the banks of the Arakawa River in Saitama Prefecture. However, with growing urbanization, the clay from Ibaraki Prefecture has started to be used. The dohyo is removed after each tournament, and in the case of Nagawa tournament, pieces are taken home by the fans as souvenirs. The day before each major tournament, the dohyo is cleansed to pray for the safety of the rikishi. This involves placing salt, cleansed rice, dried chestnut, dried kelp, dried cuttlefish, and nutmeg berry in a small hole made in the middle of the ring as offerings to the gods. Do you know what mawashi is? Yes, I'm going to tell you about the mawashi and the sumo specific hairstyle. The mawashi, the lion cloth worn by the rikishi, are around 10 yards or the 9 meters long and 2 feet or 60 centimeter wide. After being folded into six, the heavy silk is wrapped around the wrestler's waist between 4 to 7 times. The sumo's hair is oiled and combed into the shape of a ginkgo leaf. Apparently, this hairstyle also provides some cushioning for their heads in the case of a fall. Let's talk about the pre-match ritual. The process to start a sumo wrestling match is a religious ceremony, which includes different steps. The rikishi step onto the dohyo from the east and west. The east side Rikishi entering first, they enter the ring and perform a ritual called Shiko. The clapping of hands is to attract the attention of the gods. The raising of urns to the sky is to show they carry no weapons. And the famous legs raising and stomping to crush any lingering evil spirits. With the shiko finished, the rikoshi leave the circle and cleanse themselves. The first ritual is called Chikara Mizu, which means strength water. Each rikishi receiving this water from the opponent they defeated last. Like the cleansing process at the shrines and temples, each rikishi will take a handful of water and swill it in their mouth. Next, they take a handful of kyomi no sho, which means cleansing salt, and throw it over the ring before entering. About 45 kilograms of salt are used on each day of a grand tournament. There are two types of inner ring entering ceremonies followed. Number one, Shuranawe style, where spreading the arms wide emphasizes an attack. Number two, Andreo style, where the left arm is bent, the right extended. This pose signifies simultaneous defense and attack. Promotional Yokozuna chooses one style among this. Once the judge or the Shinpan gives the signal for the bout to begin, each rikishi crouches behind a white line called the Shikirishin on their half of the ring. The fight begins when both rikishi have clenched fists resting on or behind their Shikirishin. The rules, yes, which is one of the vital part of any game. The basic rule in sumo wrestling is very simple. If any of your body part apart from your feet touches the ground or you step outside the straw ring, the match is over and your opponent will be the winner. During the bouts, the following acts are prohibited. Number one, hair pulling. Number two, eye gouging. Number three, hitting with closed fists. Number four, choking. Number five, grabbing the crotch area of the opponent's mayashi. Officially, there are 82 techniques called Kimari-te, by which a rikishi can win the match. The meaning of Kimari-te is deciding hand, like push out, neck throw, etc. Once a winner emerges, both rikishi stand at either side of the ring and bow to each other before the defeated rikishi lifts the ring and the shinpan officially declares the winner. Now the game is over. So let's talk about the post-bout ritual. Once the bout is over, the two wrestlers return to their respective sides and bow again. The loser leaves the ring while the winner squats and makes a sweeping motion with his right hand. If there is prize money on the bout, it is handed over by the gyoji or the referee on his gunbai. Gunbai is nothing but the war fan. Before picking it up, the winner performs a three-stroke motion in the air called Tigatana. So, here is a specific situation which is called monoi. What is monoi? The monoi is if there is a dispute as to who won the bout, five judges dressed in black will step into the ring to discuss the match and they will decide whether to agree with the referee or overturn referee's decision. Or if they still cannot decide, order a rematch and make both Rikishi wrestle again. Kyoji. Who is this Kyoji now? Okay, so Kyoji is the referee in the sumo match, dressed in colorful robes and hold a wooden fan in his right hand. which he uses to signal the winner. Gyoji are ranked for superiority, with the highest ranked gyoji wearing extravagant silks and purple robe decoration, which is the color of Japan's nobility. The gyoji dressed like a Shinto priest of ancient time. What is Dohyo-iri? Dohyo-iri is nothing but each day of the competition starts with the lower ranking bouts before moving on to the Juryo and Makuuchi matches. Each round of bouts is preceded by a special procession called Dohyo-iri, where the rikishi stand outside the circle of the Dohyo ring. They are mawashi and perform a sort of alternative version of the Shiko ritual, which I mentioned earlier, like they clap and rub their hands to make sure the gods are watching and to symbolize the cleansing process before leaving the ring with a flick of their mawashi to show that they hide no weapons. In this regard, let me tell you that Yokozuna get their own ring entering ritual, a more elaborate and prolonged version of the shiko, performed with a shinpan and two other rikishi present on the dohyo. Aren't we all are interested more about money? Yes, it is prize money. If you see the picture in left, it is of different color banners. Before some sumo matches, you can see colorful banners paraded around the ring. These are sponsor banners, and the fee that sponsors pay acts as a prize money. The winning rikishi is awarded the prize in envelopes from Gyoji, which you can see in the other picture. More sponsors equals more prize money. Let's play the tournament. Sumo matches usually take place in tournaments. 15 matches in the top division and 7 matches in the lower division. Each rikishi contests in one match every day for 15 straight days in the top division or 7 straight days in the lower divisions. The rikishi with the most wins in any one tournament is proclaimed the winner. If two rikishi have the same record, they must fight each other to be crowned the tournament champion. Well, by this time we came to know that becoming a sumo wrestler is very difficult. Professional sumo wrestlers live in training houses known as stables, where their ranks are split between the junior and senior wrestlers. There, they follow a rigorous training regimen. Exercising from the early morning, junior wrestlers must do chores around the stable in addition to their training. There are also strict rules for wrestlers to follow when they venture outside the training stable. From how they act to what they wear, a sumo massive bulk is made up of not only fat but a ton of muscle. And because wrestlers are not divided into separate weight classes, the heaviest wrestlers typically have an advantage. In order to achieve the size needed for competition, sumo must consume around 20,000 calories a day, nearly 10 times the daily average for an adult male. This is broken into two 10,000 calorie meals where wrestlers dine together around one large communal dish, as group dining is believed to encourage eating more. Sumo also use various methods to slow down their metabolism and pack on the pounds, such as skipping breakfast, eating fewer meals, and taking a long nap after a big lunch, and going to bed after a late dinner. Eating late in the day and going to bed on a full stomach also help contribute to weight gain. Aren't you feeling hungry after so much of information? Let's eat chankonobe. To meet the strict calorie requirements, sumo wrestlers typically eat a Japanese hot pot dish known as chankonabe. It consists of plenty of protein with fish, meat, and tofu, all together in one giant pot, as well as lots of vegetables and a broth of dashi, soya sauce, mirin, sake, and salt. Chicken is a popular protein for chankonabe as the animal stands on 2 feet, like a sumo wrestler, unlike fish, pork, or beef. The nabe is prepared by the sumo and then eaten in a group with large amounts of rice on the side, plus several pints of beer. After all the ingredients are eaten, udon noodles may also be added to the nabe broth for some additional carbs and calories. Each training stable has its own recipe for chankonabe, and many retired sumo wrestlers go on to open their own chankonabe specialty restaurants, the best ones being located around the sumo town of Rigoku in Tokyo. Now it's the trivia time. Let us discuss about a few interesting informations about the sumo wrestling. How many tournaments held in a year and where? Six grand tournaments take place each year, starting with the New Year's tourney in January in Tokyo. The spring tourney is held in March in Osaka, the summer tourney in May in Tokyo, the Nagawa tourney in July, the autumn tourney in September, and the final one of the year, the Kyushu tourney, is held in Fukuoka in November. Each grand tournament lasts 15 days. All the hard work and dedication of the Rikishi is aimed at these 90 matches per year. Our next question is, who can become a professional sumo rikishi? Entry is limited to boys and men who have finished 9 years of schooling. They must be at least 167 centimeters tall and weigh at least 67 kilograms. Anything less fails the physical examination. Well, in this regard, please also note that women are not allowed to enter or touch the sumo wrestling ring or the famous Dohai ring, a tradition stemming from Shinto and Buddhist beliefs that women are impure because of menstrual blood. Here is our next question. Can a non-Japanese become a pro sumo rikishi? Well, the answer is yes. Nothing in the Japan Sumo Association rules prohibits a person from another country from becoming a pro. The first foreign-born rikishi to make the top division was Takamiyama from Hawaii. He made his debut in the 1968 January tournament and in July of 1972 became the first rikishi from outside Japan to win a Makunachi Top Division championship. Since then, other rikishi have come from a variety of places including Bulgaria, Brazil, and Egypt. Why are rikishis ranked either the east or west? Well, the official Banzuki list of rankings is renewed every tournament. All the Rikishi in 6 divisions are divided into East and West, and East is higher for each rank. For instance, the East Megashira number 1 Rikishi is higher than the West Megashira number 1 Rikishi. If there are more than 3 Yokozuna, the top one is East Yokozuna. Number 2 is West Yokozuna. The third highest will also be listed as East Yokozuna but beneath the name of number 1. During a tournament, the schedule alternates on a daily basis. On odd numbered days, everything starts from the east side. On even numbered days, everything begins from the west. So on day 1, the ring announcer will call out the name of the east side rikishi, first followed by the west side rikishi. Of course, depending on how he does, a rikishi may find himself on the other side next time. Here is our one of the most interesting question, that is, when a rikishi withdraws from a tournament, what happens to his won or lost record. A Rikishi can leave a tournament if an injury or illness makes him unable to compete. If this happens after the opponent for the next day's match has been announced, it goes down as a loss. The other wrestler gets a financial forfeit to win. Any other absence is counted as a loss too, even though nobody receives credit for winning. So, a Rikishi with 7 wins, 4 losses, and 4 absences would end up with a Makikoshi losing record. Another very interesting part: how large is the cash prize that a grand tournament champion receives? In the Makunochi top division, the tournament champion is rewarded with 10 million yen. The winner of Shakun Show, or the Outstanding Performer Award, Canton Show, which means the Fighting Spirit Prize, and Gino Show means the Technique Prize, each receives 2 million. How are the Torikumi or matchups decided? Officials from the judges division decide who faces whom at the bout composition meetings. During a grand tournament, they gather every morning around 11. The following day's pairings are announced around noon and posted on Sumo Association website. The final day's matches are decided at a much later hour on day 14, as officials try to come up with the best possible matchups. A Rikishi does not fight the same opponent twice in a tournament except in a playoff, when two men are tied for first place after the 15 regulation bouts. Each Rikishi usually takes on opponents of similar ranks. So, a Yokozuna faces off against fellow Yokozuna, Ozeki, and others near the top of the Banzuki, the official listings of the ranks. In the same way, those near the bottom of the division usually confront Rikishi in that area. If they're in contention for the title late in the tournament, they'll be pitted against some of the top wrestlers. That ensures that anyone who wins the championship really earns it. Here is our last question for the day. So, what happens to a Rikishi when he retires? Well, all the Rikishi aim to become an Oakata, which means the stable master. However, not everyone can reach that goal. The number of positions is limited to 105. Also, an Oakata must be a Japanese citizen, so anyone not born that way must naturalize. Three foreign-born former Rikishi are currently stable masters: Musashi Maru from the US, Kutushu from Bulgaria, and Kyo Kutenho from Mongolia. All three are now Japanese nationals. That's not all. Only those who had impressive Rikishi careers can aspire to Wagata status. Ozeki or Yokozuna are eligible, as are those who fought at least one tournament at Sanyaku, Sekiwake, or Komusubi. Competing in at least 20 tournaments in the top Makunochi division is another route. Fighting either in the top division and or the second tier Zuryo division for a combined 30 tournaments is yet another. Those who can't make it to stable master might become Wakai Monogashira, the men who take care of young apprentices, or Sewanin, who work to make the grand tournaments go smoothly. Here too, though the number of positions is limited. As a result, most Rikishi are unable to stay in the Sumo Association after they call it quits. One popular calling is opening a Chanko restaurant. Chanko is a hot pot stew that wrestlers eat to get bigger and stronger. It's delicious and nutritious, making it popular with other people too. The scarcity of jobs within the Sumo Association puts even more pressure on wrestlers during the years they are in the ring. Their record affects what happens then and the rest of their lives. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay safe.